This is our official beginning. Welcome, everyone. It is now time to begin. Welcome to the second session of our online Spirit Guides Retreat with Susanne Wilson. I'm Diane Calderon, the Client Services Manager. I met many of you in last night's session, but for those who missed out, if I look familiar, we may have met before in one of Suzanne's numerous classes or at one of the conferences we participated in when live events were being held. How we miss those days. If you want to grow your intuitive abilities and live an empowered life and fulfill your purpose, then you're in the right place. We offer live and on-demand mentoring and courses and a membership community known as the Carefree Souls. Now, there's a few things you need to know about this retreat. If you need technical support, please use the chat box. I will respond to any technical questions and try to help. Susanne will be answering questions with help from the spirit guides. Please listen to Suzanne's opening discussion and then enter your questions in the Q&A box. Questions that address general metaphysical, spiritual, and afterlife topics and paranormal inquiries are very much appreciated. Now relax, you won't be seen on the screen, and just know that each session of this live 2-day retreat stands on its own. Kind of hard to repeat. Please note, if you missed last night's presentation, no worries. Both sessions are being recorded and the replays will be sent to you on Friday together in one email from appt@carefreemedium.com. Included in the email will be information about how to work with Susanne in deepening your spiritual development. Now, to ensure you do receive these emails, please check your email provider and whitelist our email address, which again is appt@carefreemedium.com. Now I'm going to introduce Susanne. Susanne J. Wilson, M.A., is an accomplished medium with broad knowledge about the afterlife, afterlife communication, and paranormal subjects. Her teaching and presentations are always engaging and informative as well as entertaining. Susanne always has the entire audience actively engaged in her presentations. Susanne is based in Carefree, Arizona, and is known as the Carefree Medium, appearing on Coast to Coast AM, Gaia TV, Fox, and Amazon Films. She holds a master's degree in public affairs policy, a bachelor's degree in management, and certifications from Stanford University. And now I will introduce Susanne Wilson.
Hello, everybody. Good evening, and I am so glad that you're here. Thank you very much, Diane. I enjoyed your introduction, and you can see that Baron is already sacked out behind me. I have mentioned before that I feel like he's one of my spirit guides on Earth. The animals are so healing to us. Just being able to pet them and be with them and take care of them actually can lower our blood pressure. But what I want to share with you guys tonight, I think will be helpful, hopeful, and healing and lower your blood pressure too. I know that right now it feels like the world is in chaos, and maybe it has always felt that way to you and peaked at different times. But we're here to protect our inner world and to grow in our wisdom of our own spiritual nature. I'm calling this a retreat because I'm asking you to put away your phone or turn it over so that you don't see texts and things like that coming in. How do you retreat unless you retreat from messages and those sorts of things? I know that some people are on call, or you have a loved one that you have to be able to take a message from. That's fine. But give yourself some time, even if you're watching the replay, which many people will do. That's our custom now that we've had so many years of Zoom. I got on Zoom, I think 2016 or 2017. And then in the pandemic, everyone was on it. And so I know people have a lot of content to watch. So I want you folks to know who are watching this replay that you can attune to this energy just as though you were there in the present moment as it was unfolding. I will spend significant time in this hour just channeling what the guides want to say and addressing questions. I have a little bit of content to share with you before we do that. But first, to get all of us centered and to feel grounded and connected, a couple little exercises. I'd like to have you tap your feet on the floor if you can. If you're sitting like in half lotus and your feet are not on the floor, then just take your hands and tap the chair and just feel that vibration. I'm going to do hands and feet right now. Good. Take a big cleansing breath in through the nose, blow out through the mouth. Good. And now I want you to visualize, imagine, or simply know that around you is a beautiful bubble. And you can choose the color of this bubble. I happen to like gold. You might like blue. You might like white. But expand the bubble all around you. And know that the purpose of this bubble is to seal in and intensify focus, as well as relaxation, to seal in and intensify your positivity, your self-appreciation. And this bubble also seals out distractions, so that if a thought pops up in your head about what you still have to do today or tomorrow, the thought will not take you off track. You will not need to entertain it, and you don't need to push it away. It will simply float by as we sit in this beautiful bubble of light. Now, open your heart like you're opening a book. Open hands in front of your heart. A little kinetic activity here. Push out your heart light. Push it out. Push it out. Push it out. And we intend to connect in consciousness with each other, regardless of time or space. So this works on the recording as well. We're connecting in consciousness with all beings deep in prayer and meditation at this moment in time. Good. Feels good, huh? Now I want you to do something for me if this resonates with you. I want you to send a little mental invitation. You might even picture this as maybe a Hallmark card, you're invited, or a handwritten note, or simply place your hand on your heart and invite an ancestor guide to join you now. I've got a little note. It's mine is white paper with gold. You're invited. And I'm holding it to my heart. That energy is received as sort of like a little text bubble by an ancestor guide. Invite them to join you. Stand or sit beside you and just be here, as I'm going to talk about ancestor guides right now. Well, I will tell you, several years ago, it's been at least a decade, a friend of mine texted me, a rabbi friend, and he said, Susanne, we've got to talk. I keep seeing this woman around you in spirit. And I'm like, oh, wow, great. When can we talk? And he says, oh, let's talk soon. I keep seeing this woman and she's dark. And so I thought, oh my gosh, a dark woman. I don't feel like any kind of dark energy. In my mind, I was thinking, not energy of the light. And so I'm like, oh, should I be worried? And he goes, no, why? And then when we spoke, he said, she's African American. Oh, that kind of dark. Okay. Well, I had just recently found out that my uncle, who's no longer with us on this earth, but back in heavenly home, had been tracking down our ancestry. And he had always heard that we had a freed slave on my maternal grandmother's side. And he found her. And at that point in time, he didn't have a picture of her, but I knew that her skin would be dark. And I'd felt her around me as a child. One of my imaginary friends was a person of color. We grew up in a Black neighborhood. All my friends, Lois and Jennifer, were my two best girlfriends in grade school, and they were Black. I remember coming home from school and I said, I want my hair like Lois and Jennifer's. I want a ponytail here and here and here and here. And I just felt like one of them, even though I was this pale, tow-headed kid, but I didn't know why exactly. Having found out and then having the rabbi call me and confirming that this was real, I understood that I have an ancestor guide. My skin also, there are certain kinds of skin treatments I can't have because there's some African in my skin, and my skin will blister and be really, really sensitive. I have allergies too, but that's a whole other story. Anyway, these bodies are complicated, aren't they? Well, I now know two of my ancestor guides. One is the freed slave in the South, and the other is her daughter. And I refer to them as GG Ma, like great great grandma, and 3G. 3G is the freed slave, and her daughter is 2G or GG Ma. They have come through before and they have channeled, and I don't know if they're going to do that tonight or not. It's really weird because lights just flashed around me and my screen jumped. So somebody's coming and I'm not sure who. Nothing is planned or rehearsed. I don't know what questions are going to be in the Q&A box, but I wanted you to invite your ancestor guides now and talk to you about some of the ways that I've learned to bring them ever so much more closely to me and to feel their love. And I wanted to share that with you just a little bit. I remember hearing as a child growing up that my maternal grandmother faced a lot of discrimination because of her skin color being a little bit darker. And she had very curly black hair. And she was dating a fellow that broke up with her when he found out about her ancestry. And there was, back then in the South, it was even harder than it is today. But that's part of my ancestry. That's part of my heritage too. And I can remember even being a little girl wanting to stand up, for the underdog or make people be fair to each other. And I get very self-righteous about being fair, and I still do. But what I've taken from that ancestry is the sense of authentic power and that feeling when they're around me, there's no mistaking it. There's like a Southern lady, no nonsense. I love you. I want you to eat more. I want to take care of you. Like the personalities are there. So I have no idea what it's like to be discriminated against based on my race, my religion, or my skin color. I don't know. In this life, I don't know what that's like. And I never mean to sort of co-opt somebody else's culture. But I'm no fool. I will take the best of what a spirit guide, an ancestor guide can provide to me. And that is a strong love, family first, and we will prevail no matter what. And we trust in the Lord. That's what they bring to me, which is really cool. So here's some ways that you can bring your ancestor even closer to you. First, you've sent an invitation. They're here. I've been trying to talk to your ancestors all day. I sent LR out and said, get a hold of people, let them know we want the ancestors guides to be here. To know them, the ancestry tests that you can do, the DNA tests, are pretty cool, I have to tell you. But a lot of us are mutts. We have a very mixed ancestry. And so you can go one at a time. If you have a DNA test, or maybe a parent or a grandparent has told you some stuff, or I understand that there's like a website or something called Ancestry where you can do some research and find out, who made you, who are you from? So if you are of mixed ancestry, just take one group at a time. Say it's the Irish, and find a way to appreciate the part of them, the love that lives in you. And there are a couple different things that you can do. But what you want to do is stick to this life's ancestry first. One of the questions I get a lot is, and this is really common, I feel very drawn to the First Nations, the Native Americans, and I don't have that. I've done my DNA test, but I really want to celebrate them. And I'm like, that's fine. But also remember to celebrate and thank the ancestors from the life you're living now. It's nice to start there, right? And you can do this through seeing, hearing, feeling, smelling, tasting. Find the things in those cultures that you can appreciate. You can also make a special altar for your ancestors. If you can't leave up an altar in a room, you have to put your stuff away when you're done meditating or connecting, get a special basket that's just the ancestor connection and put all your things in there. A candle with a certain scent, something about an art object that represents them, something that you were shopping and maybe you were choosing, let's say a pendulum or a deck of cards or something, and you felt the ancestors wanted you to choose that one. That's a bond. That's something meaningful. So if you already have a place where you meditate and you already have, I hear you guys, but let me talk. If you already have your altar set up, do a second one. Do a second one for the ancestors. One of the things that's important to them is that you heal some of the things that you've carried forward in your DNA from their experiences as well. So like I said, I have no idea what it's like to be discriminated against, let alone be enslaved. But what I do is when I sit and I connect with 3G and GG Ma, I tell them that I appreciate and I understand, although I can't feel how much they suffered, but I love their music. Their music has actually, the spiritualist music and the anthems of the South have even played spontaneously in the middle of one of my retreats at my office very recently, this past summer. It just came on. It wasn't even the playlist. And since then, I've been listening to their beautiful music that I know that my two grandmothers loved. You can find out what kind of foods they typically ate, especially any of the herbs or oils or anything that they used, and appreciate that. And as you taste or as you smell, you just put yourself in a room with them or someplace out. I see my camera jumping too. Those of you that were here yesterday, I've gone through a bazillion cameras. They all do this. I don't know. It's just jumping. Just bear with me. And I feel that I have one grandmother at my left shoulder and one at my right now. Appreciate them. Thank them. And then intend that whatever needs to be healed that you're now carrying for them shall be healed in this lifetime. And I always add the little caveat, and may this healing be as gentle as possible. One time I remember being really, really bored in life, and I asked Archangel Gabriel, who stands behind me. When you invoke the archangels, typically Gabriel will be behind you for a lot of people. I asked, push me out of my comfort zone so that I may grow. Oh my gosh. I had way too many challenges then. So now when I ask for some kind of growth or healing, I just say, may it be as gentle as possible and in the time and in the manner that's just right for me. And what I've taken from these two women is the times where I've really needed to stand up for myself, they have been there. And I was only aware of one relative for quite a while. And then I learned about the second one on my ancestral team. And I kept seeing them looking different. One would have her hair up and have like a turban around her head. And the other one would have her hair short. And I realized it's because they're mother and daughter. But when they come in, it's like one big energy. And then I can see them as two separate people because they allow me to see that. Please don't worry about seeing the ancestor guides, but I want you now to notice a feeling. They're here. They're connecting soul to soul with you in your consciousness right now. And so I'm going to ask you to just take your hands and just wake up the hand chakras just a little bit, and then just feel around you and notice, where does the air feel thicker, more dense? And maybe you don't even need your hands. You can reach around behind you as well. Maybe you feel a presence, but notice where they are. And LR and my team has been asking, take your energy and put it where you usually are in the aura when you visit. So if you sense your ancestor guide right now on your right, you can pretty safely assume, you might test it out a couple more times, replicate it to make sure you feel them there, but it's pretty safe to assume that's where they usually are. Okay. Now, what about having more than one ancestor guide? Absolutely. One of the things I've learned in doing the sessions, and especially the Ask the Spirit Guide readings, is that there will sometimes be an ancestor guide spot on someone's team. There isn't always somebody in that team at the time that I do the session, but if there is, they generally will tell me, we come and go. It might be another ancestor who's filling the spot on the team, depending on the season or the reason, what the living person is going through at that time. Quite a lot has been written and said, and quite a lot of meditations have been made and so forth about healing that ancestral karma. And I won't go a lot into that right now, but I will tell you that it starts with your self-love. Your self-love, because only when we accept who we are and honor who we are, can we hope to heal anything that we brought forward in the DNA, in the ancestral DNA. And don't forget, people get so concerned sometimes, I've noticed, about healing karma or completing karma or healing ancestral trauma, that they forget that this is love as well. We're bonded by love. Your guides, all of them, want to see you succeed in every way possible and achieve your overall life goals, accepting help when you need help, accepting compassion, accepting healing, giving compassion, help, and healing. So it's not all, I got to heal a whole bunch of stuff. It's love yourself first, appreciate them, talk to them, connect through tasting, smelling, touching fabrics, making the foods, all these different ways, always with the intention of, I appreciate you. Okay. So please know that's the basic rule of the ancestor guides. The ancestor altar is really helpful, especially in the beginning when you're making your first connection. So here's what I did when I couldn't locate any kind of picture of GGG, grandma, great, great, great. I went on the internet and I said to my team, help me find a picture that most closely represents her. And it was like 1 second. It was like, there's that picture. And I could feel it in my heart, like, this looks like her. So I could see it. So I could put it on my altar. Actually, it was in a basket. I already had a really big altar. I did a little basket. And when I want to connect, I set it up around me. I don't do that anymore because I feel like I'm a living altar at this point in time, but I want to see her sometimes. So I'll pull up that picture that I found that approximates what I feel like she looks like, and I'll look at it and talk to it sometimes. And I know that she hears me because wonderful things happen, little miracles happen. So I wanted to share that with you. Now, I don't know who wants to speak from the team. Last night, it was Leroy in his characteristic fashion. He did have his little dry sense of humor. I noticed that somebody commented on that when we opened up the virtual doors tonight. I don't know who it's going to be, and I have not scripted or planned anything. Anything that I could plan to say would pale in comparison with what one of my team wants to say. They may simply just ask for questions. So at this point in time, you can now put into the Q&A box questions that could help anyone here. There are sessions that I do separately from this from time to time where a group can come in and ask specific life issue questions. This is not one of those nights. We have several hundred, I don't even remember how many now, who are going to be watching replays. And so we want to help as many people as possible. So if you have a question, metaphysical, afterlife, philosophical, but spiritual in nature, anything like that that you've always wanted to ask, I will get to as many as I can. I'm already in a little bit of an altered state. Some of you who are sensitive to energies or empaths may have noticed like there's an extra like calm about me right now. And it's just because they're here and they've been ready. So we're going to spend the rest of the time, hopefully, with the team. Okay, good. I'm going to play a little bit of music. The music is not supposed to be heard perfectly by you. It's for me to start to feel safe and relax a little bit. Then I'll turn it off and then I'll blend energies. Nobody is taking me over. I don't plan to go into deep trance. Usually if I do that, I have somebody, a living human, sit with me as sort of like an anchor. And it does take some time for me to get into trance. But this is a blending, or we Americans call it channeling. And it'll be like I'm sitting in the very back of an auditorium. Someone's up there speaking. I can feel my personality, but I don't quite know what I'm going to say. So next is a little bit of music. And again, this is for me. So if you don't hear it well, it's okay. Questions in the Q&A box. Diane will read the questions. And I have no idea what's going to happen here. Okay, I'm ready to go. Yeah. Hello, dear people.
Hello.
What a pleasure to know that many are gathered from every part of this world. There are holy males and females from the spirit world that represent each and every part of this world joining with you now. You may consider your group to be the people from North America, the people from the other countries where it is the next day. However, owing to the fact that so very many guardians have joined, guardians for all of you, and holy souls are here. All are represented. In our way, all are represented as well. We must advise you not to attempt to identify who or what we are. Although you may have heard of us as the light, the united, the unity. Dear, beautiful, reckless humans, we love you without condition and find you perfectly imperfect, endearing, brave. Yes, reckless. However, is that not part of the fun of the experience and the experiment of humankind? We will say that we have had many iterations upon Earth, but there are also those of us who have never chosen an iteration on the Earth plane, although at some point it does feel as though everyone tries it at least one time. It is difficult to speak with you as an individual. Most of us here in this unity have gone into a light body, a consciousness. Although we can wear a body that represents where we have lived prior, we can interact. Do not fear that anyone you love will be lost to you because they are now light. There is always the freedom of decision to be joined together and in light, or to live in a village, tribe, city. Most of us here are quite fond of the light, but as we spend more time watching you, inspiring you, there can be an angst, a yearning to be incarnate as you are. Beautiful, reckless humans whom we admire greatly. We wish to say that at this time in your linear space-time, we do not remember when we have endeavored with such dedication to whisper into your ears You are loved and all is well. Remember the swinging of the pendulum in the clock, back and forth, and know that change is always coming, back and forth, back and forth. What matters most is your love of your lives, your love for one another, and how that love is expressed. We would like to say that we wish you would not self-flagellate regarding what you judge yourselves in as having lower vibrational thinking. It is part of the human nature to have your mind wander into darker places. Simply do not abide therein, and know that the light that we live in is within you. Please ask a question.
Question. How many generations back will a soul still potentially serve as an ancestor guide?
Always, whenever, as desired. Freedom of choice, expression of love, does not age, does not exist in space-time. Thank you.
Question. When we cross over, how will our loved ones know to come greet us, or how do we know where to go meet them?
It is quite generally a very brief notice that you are on the way. What is most important for you to attempt to understand is that transportation is energetic. Your energy links you with those who have come before you, with those you most want to see. There is great excitement when the word is shared of your impending arrival. You may think of it as messages sent by messengers. However, it is spontaneous. The cords of light are communication devices as such. Although do not think of them as machines, they are simply transporting the love and the news. The energy around you, what you know as auric field, is the transportation. Your auric field is imprinted with those who await your return home. This is not a phone call that we would ever miss from you. Message would always be received. Thank you.
Question. Are our guides near and aware of us all the time, or only when we reach out to them? And are they guides for others as well?
Some will have multiple purpose. Some will grow tired of attempting to attract your attention. These are very practiced teachers, healers, communication guides. If they cannot ply their trade with you, they are in demand and must move forward but consider the speed with which they can move, the ease with which they can change dimensions, locations, and know that one very advanced guide can be working with many. There is going to be one guide that will never leave you, but there are others that you may not need on a given time. Thank you.
Question. If we as souls forget who we are when we come to Earth in order to learn lessons, then why does it seem beneficial for us to become more spiritual and start to remember where we came from?
The question seems to be focused upon the reason why you do not remember all. Let us address that. When you come to the body, you now have a filter. You have the human physical brain. It is a beautiful construct that allows you to live in the physical. However, it is the great limiter. Your consciousness exists outside of the brain, but you may go mad were you to remember everything. This is a wonderful venue, the earth, for experience, for learning about oneself, for understanding emotion, for regulating oneself, while at the same time balancing that regulation with a fully open heart for compassion. It is not a punishment to not remember everything. It is grace to come here and to start fresh and new. It is unlike any other place to live an iteration, a life. It is not wasted. Experiences are not wasted. The point of learning again is the diversity of knowledge that leads to ever greater wisdom. Thank you.
Question. Do we have to worry about dark energy spirits when we try to connect, and how can we tell if we do?
Hear me now. You must be concerned about the energy of the living rather than the energy of the non-corporeal. Yes, there are diversities in all dimensions. Be careful who you wish to attract. Use your spiritual eyes to discern, your spiritual ears to discern, but most of all, your heart will tell you, and you may always ask, are you from the light? In the face of that question, your spiritual team will rally round you, and they will apprise you of whether an answer is truthful. There normally should be no need unless you are living a life that does not appreciate the sanctity, the sovereignty of other living beings those who abuse, those who create violence, those who, for only the reason of satiation of abnormal urges to kill or to hurt, that is the creation of the dark energy. You are not that person. You should not fear. Thank you.
Question. Is it possible that an ancestor that you'd like to connect with either doesn't want to connect or it's too difficult for them? Or is it just because we're not ready for the connection? And how do we know the difference?
This begs the question, how did you decide that an ancestor did not want to connect or is not ready? How do you test that assumption? Could it be incorrect? At the same time, the individual soul will be accountable for whether or not the soul decided to connect. There are some who do not care to connect with the earthly world or simply connect in their own way and in their own time, which may not fit the demands of our beautiful humankind. You have high expectations quite often. Do not assume that a soul that you wish to connect with is not trying. It is a two-way process. If you get to your home arrival after physical death and you have not heard from a grandfather or a friend, whomever has gone before you, you must take it up with them. Ask them. The answer may surprise you. They were always there. Thank you.
Question. Do extra and ultra terrestrials walk among us in our daily lives? And if so, why?
Yes, because they can. Because they care. We find that there is a specific group that is among us that you may think of as not extra, but ultra, very much experienced, great wisdom. In their latest incarnation iteration, they were light beings. They did not need vehicles in the skies. They simply opened the door to work with you and see you. The races, the groups that are on the earth now are sometimes wearing a body that they have created, an illusion that they have created so that they can interact. We find that many of our beautiful, admired, adored humans here on earth expect those from other dimensions and planets to save them, to come in from the sky and to land and to announce the new world. This will not happen. Although we tend to avoid speaking in extreme terms, we want not for others to overtly change you, save you. We monitor those who walk among you. We discern their motives. And if we find that they are not in harmony with the mission of the souls incarnating as humans, we draw to your attention through your guides. We find very few that are not in harmony with you. We, the unity, the united, this collection is not in agreement with those who are taken from their beds and used as the specimens. You will find that these instances are decreasing as we are now attempting to alert those who are more experienced and, as you would say, evolved as ultra into helping prevent these cases. It is unnecessary suffering. One day, humankind will look back and say, we cannot believe this ever happened. By the same token, although we protect, we will not save. You are saving yourselves. You are saving your earth. We have been pleased to see a new generation of humans fully equipped with the PSI intuitive natures coming to help. It is not without hope ever upon this earth. In summation, we protect, we do not save. And we wish for you to cease a fascination with what is in the sky and increase your curiosity about who is behind what is in the sky. Thank you.
Thank you so much. We have more questions, but we have run out of time. We appreciate all that you have been able to provide. Blessings to you. Thank you.
We wish to thank you for the opportunity to bring the light closer. We wish to now provide healing lights to all, hearing the voice we use now, focus upon the vibration, the feeling. If you would like to receive this healing, allow it here and now as we fill your hearts with light. Dear ones, know that we marvel at the way in which you are always getting yourself organized, picking yourself up after a fall, starting again as needed. When you are in your darkest time, know that we are ever closer. Call upon the light. Every person has the ability to feel us, to receive through us. This is the light that we bring. It comes from you, through you. It comes from us, through us. We made the bright lights eons ago. We showed our light bodies, and we were artistically recreated in many forms in times when the tools of artistic creation were quite crude. Now we show our light bodies to you in your dreams. We take you places to help you remember in the cellular part of you how very powerful and beautiful you are. It is your purpose to experience. Never feel that we have abandoned you. How could we ever express our gratitude for giving us the ability to feel what you experience? There are not enough words, not correct words, to fully express our appreciation for you. We exist in this form because of you. We aspire to be of greater assistance in our own way. Remember that many of us were once like you, and that one day you will be able to serve in this manner. Remember how we expressed our appreciation to you, and know that we will meet in another place. Thank you. Oh, Baron's over by my side. I've been petting him and I didn't realize it. Okay, so I'm gonna get a drink of water. Anybody want to ask questions about what we just did here? I'm honoring my Irish and Scottish ancestors with my Irish vest. Okay. Woo. Okay. I'm seeing some thank yous come in. Appreciate that, you guys. I really felt as though there was a little bit of an individual voice in here. And I saw an individual, how they looked before they were coming in as part of the unity. And I saw a very tall, bald male with sort of like a Indian coloring. And I don't mean Native American, I mean India. And so it's like he stepped out for a second. And I feel like I saw him in childhood, but I don't know. But that's the first time I've seen anything other than light, or sometimes they'll show me a flower. It's always daisies. It's like the cheapest, most common flower, nothing fancy, but they'll show me daisies sometimes. But I saw an individual who sort of stepped out from that collective consciousness for a moment. And I'll keep you posted, future meetings and things, how that goes, what that turns out to be. But it's always a process. There's always unfoldment. You will be at your most intuitive, your most conscious, you on the day that you return to heavenly home, meaning growth, growth, growth. And when you integrate that growth, that creates the wisdom. I'm growing with you. So I appreciate your taking this time to be on the Online Spirit Guides retreat. I hope that you found a golden gem that you can use to help yourself in the times that you need it, or a golden gem that you can share with someone else in the future that will help them as well. Remember that every time you help someone heal, even just a wee bit, you get healing back yourself. That's how it works. That is the law. That is the law of love. So I'm Susanne Wilson, and I'm sending you love with a capital L. That's not like how I love pizza. That's sending big love from my heart to yours. Bye, guys. Thank you so much.